Hi guys, it's your girl qochemist, and I'm popping on camera with a slightly different type of video. If you've read the title, then you realize that I had my eyebrows microbladed. Now, I know there's tons of information and videos out there. However, I just had my brows done. It's actually about 2 a.m. on December 4th. I dozed off before I could make this video. I just had my brows microbladed on December 3rd at noon. So I wanted to make the video while, it was fresh in my mind, and I also want to do subsequent follow-up videos as I go through my initial healing process and then follow up again when I have my touch-up. So I want to give you the whole sort of experience of my microblading experience. So let's start with, why did I get microblading? Why did I get microblading? So I've never really had very full brows my entire life, but sometime around a decade or so ago, the tail end just like faded out. The hairs there just faded out, and so most of my brow was from the center point up into the arch and just maybe a little bit beyond. And I always have had to fill in my brows if I wanted to have an actual tail to my brow. This is probably attributed to plucking when I was much younger. Again, the fact that I didn't have a lot of brows to begin with. And also I've read that, women of a certain age over time, their brow hairs can just like thin out. And I am a woman of a certain age, or becoming a woman of I'm closer to being a woman of a certain age than I used to be of a girl of a certain age. Let's just put it that way. So all those things have attributed to the fact that I've had to fill in my brows on a daily basis. And it's to a point now for me that even if I'm not wearing any type of makeup, I will still fill in my brows because it just looks weird without them. And I'll try to insert some footage of what my naked brows look like for you guys. I'm definitely going to post some pictures on Instagram as well of my process. So if you're not following me on Instagram at qochemist, do that. Also, I've shared, if you follow me on Snapchat, then you already know that I had the process done, because I actually did snap some of my experience, not all of it, on there as well. So back to microblading. So that's pretty much why I decided to get it. I always thought I'd be the type of person who would never get any type of cosmetic surgery. I'm very comfortable in my skin, and I'm not perfect, but hey, I'm comfortable, enough with how I look. But when I saw the process that people had gone through with the microblading, and then a few of my actual real life friends got it done, and I talked to them about it and how they felt about it, and they just really seemed to love it, and I just was like, I think this would be something I would actually do. So how did I go about making the decision? I did a lot of research. I looked at a lot of YouTube videos. I looked up a lot of things online, which of course can be scary. So you have to be able to sort between what is good information, what is bad information. I looked at newer information versus older information. It's important to educate yourself on what exactly microblading is. I pulled up a lot of articles under microblading. However, it was the process that people had undergone was actually permanent makeup tattooing. Now, what microblading is not a tattoo. It is a temporary, I guess, tinting, and there is some cutting involved, actually. I mean, just to be frank, they use a blade. It's called microblading. They use a blade to cut little slits, and then they apply a tint to those slits. Whereas with the permanent makeup, there is tattoo gun that is used, and ink. So this is not that, because the ink, you can get all kinds of, over time, ink can fade or change colors on your skin, and yeah, there's that. I'm not a tattoo artist expert or anything. I don't have any tattoos. But yeah, microblading is not tattooing, and I did see some articles that sort of freaked me out, and then I had to realize those people had bad tattoos, and that is not what microblading is. I then went about researching to find someone who could do my brows. And actually now with social media, it makes life so much simpler. You can literally search like hashtag microblading and then put like your state behind it. And any people who are doing the service will usually pop up on Instagram, which is really a good place because you get to see their work. The person that I found was in Rhode Island. And she was a licensed cosmetologist who had gotten the training for microblading. She's been doing cosmetology for quite a while. She's newer to microblading, but I liked her work. I contacted her, we talked, and I made my appointment. I looked at all of her work. I went online and I looked at different brows, what I liked, what I didn't like. And when I came in to talk to her for my appointment, I actually showed her how I fill my own brows in. So we took all of that into consideration. So day of appointment, actually prior to appointment, I did receive some do's and don'ts. I'm not going to go into great detail on those at this moment because depending upon who you go to, they may tell you something slightly different. So yeah, but I could share that with you if you're interested. But I did find them to be, you know, pretty much similar to things I had seen online. So I arrived, I filled out paperwork, basically giving her permission to do my brows, you know, telling paperwork basically acknowledged that I was aware of all of the pros and cons, if you will. There are some adverse effects that people can have. I felt confident that I wouldn't have those. I don't have overly sensitive skin or anything like that, but they are applying a pigment to basically cuts on your skin. So, you know, you have to think about that. Gave her permission to use any images for social media purposes or like for business purposes, and gave her a little bit of medical history that would basically tell her, you know, kind of anything that would adversely impact this pigment being applied to my skin. So then we talked, and I showed her the pictures, and I asked her all the questions that I had about everything I had seen on the internet, just to, you know, calm me down. After that, I felt very confident in her abilities. We then set out to select a pigment. Like I said, it is not ink, it is a pigment. She made that very clear to me. And she has lots of different tones, all the full range of tones of pigments. And she told me that she could mix them. You know, she didn't just have to go with one straight out of the container or the little tube. Excuse me, she could mix them. So she took a few swatches and kind of applied them to my forehead area, just slightly above my brow, just to give me an idea of how the pigment would look against my skin. And after I tested out a few, I picked out one that I liked that was a nice dark brown, which is my natural coloring. However, I didn't like how flat it looked, so I asked her if she could warm it up, and then she added some additional drops of color to that, and then she swatched it a few other times, and I chose the one that she did, and I'm really pleased with it so far. I know it's going to change, but I'll get into that. But I liked how it looked. It was a warmer chocolate brown, not just a flat dark brown. So after picking the pigment, she then applied this like little plastic ruler. I don't know if I got pictures of it. Any images or pictures I'll try to insert, or maybe I'll put it in a separate video. I took some images on Snapchat. Okay. She applied this little ruler, and that ruler had everything perfectly measured out so that she could measure where the front of my brow naturally falls, where the arch of my brow naturally falls, where the tail naturally falls. And then after that, she sketched in the shape that we had discussed, and I looked at it. She gave me some options of making the arch a little higher or a more natural curve. I told her I wanted to keep it natural. I thought the arched brow looked very harsh, and I can already give you a look, so I didn't need any help with that. After she did that, I should say when I first came in, she did put like some numbing type cream over my brow. So at this point, I still have the numbing cream on while she's doing the stenciling in. She then cleaned, actually she cleaned the area before she did the stenciling in too, sorry. She cleaned the area with like an antiseptic cleansing thing, then did the stencil, then I laid down, then she started with the blading. Now I will tell you, round one, or the first pass as they call it, you can definitely feel it on your skin. I did anyway. And but it didn't freak me out because it was what I anticipated. I kind of in my mind mentally prepared myself to feel something that felt along the lines of someone taking like a straight pen, like if you sew, you know what I'm talking about, straight pen, and scraping it lightly across your skin. And that's pretty much what it felt like. Some people talk about the ripping of your skin sound. That didn't bother me that much. It wasn't that loud, and it didn't sound like it was ripping. It just almost sounded like, I don't know, like a crunchy sound. I don't know. But it didn't turn my stomach. I'm not queasy about stuff like that, so it didn't bother me. So after the first pass, she then, you know, she was constantly using clean like towelettes or whatever to, you know, wipe. However, she said I really didn't bleed. She said I had really good skin and that it held up really well, so I didn't bleed. But she, you know, cleaned the area again. Then she put an additional numbing cream that had like a lidocaine on it. And then she went back in with the second pass, which doing the blading on the skin only. After she completed the second pass, she allowed me to look at it before she applied the tint that I had chosen, the pigment. And I liked the shape. I really liked it. And they pretty much look like they look right now. And then she applied the pigment and allowed that to sit in about 15 minutes. And then she wiped that away. And I walked out looking just like I look right now. Now, there is a healing process involved in this because your skin has been cut and tinted. So I am prepared for all that will come in the coming days. There may be some scabbing, there may be some itching, it will get darker, and then it may scab over, and then it may lighten up. Like, she gave me full disclosure information on, you know, what will happen and how to take care of my brows. Now, I read online a lot of people were told to just like not touch them, don't wash them, none of that. My aftercare instructions are different. I can actually wash mine with like an antibacterial, like gentle liquid soap. But again, whatever your person told you to do, please do it. Or, you know, proceed at your own risk. I'm not going to go into all the detail about what I have to do, but after I wash them, I have to be very careful to make sure they are completely dried because you have to consider there are like open little cuts here. And then I will be applying this, it's actually either Aquaphor or she actually gave me A&D ointment, which is like for diaper rash. And that's what I have, a skin protectant. I'm supposed to apply that with a clean swab, using one side of the swab for one brow and flipping, not double dipping. And then that's what I'm supposed to do over the next few days. And so, again, I'm planning to come back and share with you guys my experience, you know, how I actually heal. Now, watching how I heal is not going to give you an actual indication of how you might heal if you have the process, because everyone's skin is different. Like I said, I wasn't a bleeder at all. She said I actually had very good skin for this type of procedure, so that made me feel good. But you may have skin that is more prone to bleeding, which of course more bleeding takes a little bit longer to heal. And, you know, of course, that we're all susceptible to any type of irritation or from this procedure, but you may be a little bit more susceptible. So that being said, there are some do's and don'ts, you know, things that I can't do, like have hot, steamy showers, expose myself to a lot of dust and debris over the next few days. But I feel confident that I'm going to be able to do that. I actually purposely put my hair up and out of the way for the first few days, even though I hate having my hair up and out of the way consistently, but I just washed it, so it's whatever. But yeah, guys, that was my initial experience, and like I said, I will come back. I don't know if I'm gonna do a daily video, but I'll come back. I'll definitely be talking about it daily on Snapchat, but I'll come back and share. If you have questions, please comment below. Please keep in mind I'm not an expert at this, so if I said anything that was off, please feel free to comment below, because I know you guys will. If you know more than I do, you will definitely let me know. But yeah, so far I'm very pleased. And like I said, I know there's going to be a process to the healing. And then I also have to go for a 6-week touch-up after they kind of settle in initially, just to get anything worked out. I already know I'm going to have her slightly even up just right here, because as I look at it, for me, They're not completely even, and I know brows are sisters, not twins, but I want that part done. And I may get her to work on the tail a little bit more to fill it in, but I'm not sure. I have to see how they actually end up. So this video is getting super long, but I want it to be as thorough as possible, answer as many questions as I know I had going into the process. And yeah, if you like this video, please comment and like it, thumbs it up, share it, and definitely hit the notification bell, because I actually will be making a few more videos over the next few weeks as it pertains to this. And if you have any questions, please comment below, because I will try to address them below. If I can't get the answer, if it's something I can ask my the technician, I don't know if I should call it technician or cosmetologist or whatever, but the person who did my process, if I can ask her those questions and share them with you, I'll be happy to do so. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching.